Just a quick video on standard trig values to go with the sheet as well. We haven't practiced this in starters for a bit, but I'll make sure there's some in this week. You need to know the values of the sine, cosine, and tangent for standard angles between 0 degrees and 360 degrees. And the reason we need to know this is because there's likely to be a question on solving equations, which we'll come to shortly. The angles you need to know are multiples of 30 degrees and multiples of 45 degrees. One way of doing this is to learn the values from 0 degrees to 90, which are in the table below, and then use the unit circle to go beyond 90 degrees. So first you need to learn the table below. Every year in methods there are reports from examiners that students do not know these standard values, and they are tested on them. So it's a good idea to learn them now and to make sure that you understand them. So I've got theta here going 0, 30, 45, 60, 90. And the easiest one to learn first is the sine. And the way to do this is to write down 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then divide them all by 2, and then take the square root. Now, the square root of 0 is still 0, so this one is equal to 0. Square root of 1 is 1, so 1 over 2 is a half. Square root of 2 over 2, there's nothing more you can do with that, although you will see that written as 1 divided by root 2. Your knowledge of surds should be able to tell you that those two things are the same. Then this one is root 3 over 2. And for this one here, the square root of 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And so you can see those values as we go across the table. 0, a half, root 2 over 2, or 1 over root 2, root 3 over 2, and 1. So if you remember this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 trig, that can help you remember the sine. And then if you look at the cosine values, they're just in reverse order. So you've got the 1 at this end, then root 3 over 2, root 2 over 2, a half, and 0. The tan is always sine divided by cos, so 0 divided by 1 is 0. But you probably just need to remember these. Root 3 over 3, you'll also see that written as 1 over root 3. 45 degrees, tan of 45 degrees is 1, tan of 60 is root 3, and undefined for 90 degrees, you can't have the tangent of 90 degrees. Once you know the values, you can get values for angles outside of this range by using the unit circle. The important thing to remember is between 0 degrees and 90 degrees, sine, cos, and tangent are all positive. In fact, the values are in the table up here, and you can see that they are all positive values. When we get into the S quadrant, that's between 90 and 180, the sine is positive, but the cosine and the tangent are negative. Between 180 and 270, the tangent is positive, the sine and the cosine are negative. And then between 270 and 360, we have the cosine only as positive. Tan and sine are negative. So we're going to do an example. We're going to find the sine of 120, 240, and 300. So 120 degrees is here. We can see the angle clearly marked going from 0. The associated acute angle is this angle here, and it is always the angle between our line and the x-axis. So that one always goes to the x-axis. So this one is 60 degrees, and that tells us that the sine of 120 is equal to the sine of 60, and so it's root 3 over 2. That's what I mean by if you know the ones between 0 and 90, you can work the other ones out. The reason that sine 120 is just equal to sine 60 is because we're in the S quadrant, so we know the sign is positive. If we now move to looking at 240 degrees, I don't know why I've got it there twice. If we go to 240 degrees, I'll actually get rid of this one before I send it out to you. And 240 measured from 0 is this angle here. The associated acute angle is 60 degrees. That's the angle to the x-axis. We're in the t quadrant, so the sign should be negative. And that's why sine 240 is the negative of sine 60. Notice this one is that reference angle, this angle here, or this angle here in this example. And so that is negative root 3 on 2. And when we go into the next quadrant, so our angle is down here, from 0 it's 300 degrees. The associated acute angle there is 60 again. We're in the C quadrant, so the sign should be negative. Sine 300 is the negative of sine 60, so it's also negative root 3 on 2. And we need to know this stuff when we're asked to solve an equation, such as, and I've got two examples here. So cos theta is 1 over root 2. We want all the angles between 0 and 360. From the table, we know that cos 45 is root 2 over 2, and that is the same as 1 over root 2. So one answer is 45 degrees, because we know cos 45 is root 2 over 2, and 45 is in the range 0 to 360. Since we have a cosine and it is positive, because the value is root 2 over 2, which is a positive number, the other answer must be in the C quadrant. So our answers were going to be in the A and C quadrant because that's where the cosine is positive. It would be negative over here, and so the answers won't be over here at all. So one answer we said was 45 degrees, which is here. The other one is going to have a reference angle, which is 45, and that means that the angle measured from here would be 360 take away 45, which is 315. So our two answers are 45 and 315. Another example, sine theta is negative a half for angles between 0 and 360. Now, since it's a sine and it's negative, we know the answer can't be in this top half. The two angles are marked here. We know that sine 30 is a half, so that's why it's our reference angle, and because it's negative, has to be in the T and the C. If we measure those angles from 0, that's 180, and another 30 is 210. Keep going, and this one is 30 before we get to 360, so 360 take away 30, and that is 330.